The moment my lips parted, I was staring it down, eye to eye, my heart pounding like a drum in a storm. My tongue flicked out, tentative, brushing against him in a way I never imagined I'd dare. His hand rested on the back of my head, not forceful, but urging, guiding me closer. I opened my mouth wider, and with one reckless plunge, I crossed a line most guys wouldn't dream of. It wasn't just about him, it was about me, about the thrill, the edge I'd been chasing. I'd always been a gambler, betting more than I could afford, riding the high of a win, just enough to keep my bookie sweet. But luck's a fickle thing, and mine ran dry. 8 bad bets, all on one cursed day, left me drowning in tens of thousands of dollars of debt money I'd never scraped together. I was young, barely old enough to be in this mess, and I clung to that like a lifeline. No bookie in their right mind should have taken bets from a minor. It was my only shield. Mom slaved away as a waitress at some upscale joint, barely keeping us afloat, and Dad? Long gone, leaving nothing but absence. There was no family fortune to bail me out. When I brought it up to my bookie, his smile was all honey, his voice smooth as silk, but his words cut like a blade. "Age don't matter, kid," he said, eyes glinting. "You owe, you pay, or I'll find a way for you to work it off." I nodded, mumbling an "okay," thinking he'd have me running numbers or some petty hustle. But deep down, I knew better. His interest rates were a noose, tightening with every day I couldn't pay. I'd be trapped forever, working myself to the bone with no escape. The second I got home, I tore off my clothes and ducked into the shower, letting the hot water scald away the panic. There was a secret I hadn't told him, a card I'd been holding close. For years, I'd slipped into Mom's clothes, transforming into someone else, someone he'd never tracked down. I'd even ventured out a few times, testing the waters, and I was damn good, good enough to disappear. I moved fast, pulling on a sleek green skirt that hugged my hips, pairing it with a crisp white blouse and low heels that clicked softly on the floor. My hair, tugged into a neat ponytail, swayed as I applied makeup with a steady handliner sharp, lips bold, every detail perfect. As I clipped on earrings, the front door creaked open, and Mom's voice rang out, calling my name. My stomach twisted. This wasn't how I wanted her to find out, but it was this or worse, maybe a shallow grave. I took a shaky breath, pushed open the bedroom door, and stepped into the light. Mom froze, her eyes wide as saucers, taking in the skirt, the blouse, the whole picture. "Brandon, what the hell is this?" Her voice was sharp, teetering between shock and something heavier. "Why are you dressed like that?" I sank onto the couch, her stare boring into me. "Mom, I had to," I started, my voice low, almost pleading. I spilled it all: the bets, the debt, the bookie's threat, and how I'd slipped out before, passing as a girl, certain it could keep me hidden. "If I stay like this, he won't find me. I'll be safe." She didn't interrupt, just listened, her face shifting from stunned to something darker. Her eyes narrowed to slits, her lips pressed into a tight red line, her fists clenched like she was holding back a storm. I'd never seen her this angry, not ever. When I finished, she leaned back, her silence louder than any shout. Then, her voice cut through, low and biting. "Just how stupid do you think these guys are?" Mom's voice cracked like a whip, each word slicing deeper. "They know everything. Brandon, where you live, where you go. You think they won't piece it together just because you're in a skirt? How could you be so damn reckless?" I sank into the couch, mute, my chest tight as I prayed she'd have some way to fix this. But her face, hard lines and blazing eyes, told me I might have been safer facing my bookie's wrath. The doorbell chimed, sharp and sudden, and my stomach plummeted. Mom strode to the door, yanking it open, and there he was. My bookie, all slick confidence, his eyes locking onto me the second he stepped inside. Dressed as I was, green skirt, white blouse, heels clicking faintly, I was a neon sign screaming my identity. No hiding now. Mom didn't invite him to sit, but he sprawled into a chair anyway, his gaze raking over me like he was appraising a car. "The kid owes me a fortune," he said, voice calm but edged with steel. "I'm here to see how he's settling up." "He's just a kid," Mom snapped, her hands gripping the armrests of her chair. "How's he supposed to pay you that kind of money? What's your plan? Hurt him? Kill him?" He chuckled, low and dry, shaking his head. "Can't collect from a corpse, lady, and roughing him up just brings the cops sniffing around." His eyes slid back to me, lingering, a slow grin curling his lips. "But you know, I could use someone like her out front, serving drinks, charming the crowd. I'll pay 500 a week, 300 goes to the debt. She keeps the tips. No interest, and she's clear by, what, 23? Or—" He leaned forward, his voice dropping. "I collect the full amount. Now. Your call, kid." Mom's face flushed, her words tumbling out in a rush. "He's got school. He's a minor. He can't be serving drinks." "Checked his schedule," the bookie shot back, unfazed. "School's mornings. My place doesn't open till 2. It works. And the drinks? Let's just say it won't be an issue." He turned to me, one eyebrow raised. "So, kid, what's it gonna be?" I glanced at Mom, her eyes brimming with a sadness that gutted me. Then back at him. He knew my answer before I did it was the only path left. I nodded, a small defeated jerk of my head. He stood, brushing off his jacket, and Mom, voice tight, asked if he'd provide a uniform or if casual clothes would do. He sized me up, then peeled off a stack of $100 bills, pressing them into her hand. "Casual's fine, but skirts, not pants. This is an advance added to the debt, of course. Get her what she needs." He sauntered out, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. I'd thought about running to the cops, but everyone knew they were in his pocket. Snitching would only get me a beating. Or worse. Mom and I locked eyes, the air between us thick with unspoken fear. Then she shot to her feet, her voice trembling with fury. "You've really screwed yourself now, Brandon. Betting that kind of money, do you even grasp what this means? School in the morning, then rushing home to transform, to be perfect as a girl every single day. You'll work God knows how long, day after day, until you graduate. And even then, what? You live like this full time? Your life's in the gutter, and I can't do a damn thing except help you play this part. How do I explain this to Grandpa?" "He'll lose it. And your friends, what about them?" Her words hit like punches, each one true. I'd gambled my way into a cage, and now, to survive, I'd have to become someone else entirely. My life had spiraled into chaos the moment those bets went south, and seeing my bookie's eyes rake over me in that skirt was a gut punch almost as bad as the debt itself. He'd dangled a way out work off the money, but the catch was, I had to do it as a girl. Mom's words echoed in my head. This wasn't just a job, it was a sentence, one that would ripple through every corner of my life. "You're already dressed," she said, her voice clipped, barely masking her fury. "We might as well get you what you need. Grab your purse. Let's go." It wasn't a suggestion. I snatched the empty purse, my hands trembling, and trailed her to the car, each step in those low heels feeling like a march to my own execution. At the mall, we burned through the bookie's cash. Breast forms, high-end ones that could be glued on for weekend shifts, ate up most of it. Then, a padded panty brief to shape my hips, a couple of bras, some skirts, blouses, pantyhose, and shoes. With every purchase, my anger at myself boiled hotter. I'd been so stupid, so reckless, and Mom's face tight, her eyes like daggers only drove that home. If looks could kill, I'd have been 6 feet under. Shopping, usually a mindless distraction, was a grim march, each item a reminder of the hole I'd dug. Mom declared it enough to start, but anything else would come out of the bookie's measly advance. I spotted a few friends weaving through the mall, laughing, carefree. I ducked my head, shame burning my cheeks, and made damn sure they didn't see me. Admitting this mess to them? Not a chance. Back home, Mom told me to put everything away and left without another word. I stuffed bras, pantyhose, slips, and panties into a drawer, hung skirts and blouses in the closet, and lined up the shoes. Outside my window, girls my age strolled by, soft and effortless, their laughter a stark contrast to the weight crushing my chest. They made being a girl look natural, desirable even, while I felt like a fraud. My reflection in the mirror showed a girl my age, ponytail, makeup, skirt, but it was a lie. I didn't move like them, didn't carry that easy grace. My hair and makeup skills were a patchwork of guesswork, and my wardrobe knowledge was barely enough to scrape by. I was just a guy in a dress, padded bra and all, playing a part I didn't understand. I sank onto my bed, tears spilling over, unstoppable. The tough guy image I'd built, betting big, living on the edge, had crumbled to dust. Worse, my secret, the one I'd guarded so fiercely, was teetering on the edge of exposure. Dressing up had always been private, a quiet escape where the tough guy and the soft girl inside me never had to clash. Now they were at war, and I was losing. Footsteps echoed through the house, and I froze, too raw to face Mom again in this getup. My room, with its familiar walls, was the only safe place left, a cocoon against the chaos. The door creaked open, and I braced for her voice. But it wasn't Mom. Grandma stepped in, her eyes wide with shock, and right behind her, Grandpa's towering figure filled the doorway, his face unreadable. There was no hiding it. I stood there in the green skirt and white blouse, my makeup smudged from tears, a mirror of the mess inside me. Grandma settled beside me on the bed, her warmth steadying me as I broke down again, sobs shaking my frame. She wrapped her arms around me, saying nothing, just holding on as I unraveled. Then Pop's voice cut through, gruff but heavy with purpose. "I went to see that Bookie of yours," he said, standing rigid in the doorway. "He gets your situation, kid, but he's not budging. Says there's no such thing as a bad debt, just ones that are harder to collect. I got him to give you Sundays off and make school your priority, but he's dead set on you working his joint 6 days a week. As a girl, claims he's cured other boys with gambling problems this way. Said he'd be flexible for big tests or school dances, but you're waitressing, like it or not." His eyes met mine, heavy with disappointment, and it hit me harder than any punch. Pop had always been my rock, stepping in after Dad drank himself into a ditch when I was 2, leaving nothing but a wrecked car and a hole in our lives. Now my grandparents were staring down my mess, and it stung worse because of my secret. I liked dressing up, slipping into Mom's clothes, feeling like someone else. I'd even gone out a few times, always at night, always unnoticed. But now, that didn't matter. My private escape was about to become my public cage, and everyone who mattered, Mom, Pop, Grandma, knew why. I couldn't find words, so I just let Grandma's embrace hold me together as Pop shut the door behind him. "He blames himself," she murmured, her voice soft but firm. "Thinks he should have been around more, guided you better." "Nana, he was here," I choked out. I thought I had it under control. I was winning and You bet more than you could afford with a man who doesn't give a damn about you," she cut in, her piercing blue eyes locking onto mine, the kind that always saw through my lies. "Let's talk straight. Your mom said you were dressed up when she got home, and you didn't look half bad. Was that your first time? Or did you just get lucky pulling it off?" I stammered, my throat tight. "Maybe." "So you've done this before," she said. Not a question, her gaze unrelenting. "Your mom's a wreck, Brandon. She can't handle this, thinks she failed you. That if she'd been around more, you wouldn't be in this mess. It's nonsense, but she's so torn up she can't even help you get ready for that place. Says it's degrading for you to dress like this, and that's not going to do you any favors, is it?" "No," I mumbled, my mind racing, unsure where she was going. "She's blaming herself, but she can't face helping you become what you need to be to survive this. So you're coming to live with us. I've got the time to teach you how to pass as a girl properly. And your grandpa? He'll make sure nobody lays a finger on you." Her words settled like a lifeline, heavy with promise and protection, but also a stark reminder. My old life was gone, and the girl in the mirror was about to become my only way forward. Grandma's voice was steady, leaving no room for argument. We'll drive you to school for the next week until winter break. Then you'll transfer to one near us. We'll also take you to and from work, make sure you're safe. Nana, Pack up, she cut in, her tone firm but not unkind. I'll be back later to get you, and don't change. The door clicked shut behind her and Pop, their footsteps fading. I stood frozen, the weight of her words sinking in. Then Mom appeared in my doorway, her eyes glistening. Mom never cried not once in all the years I'd known her, but now tears streaked her face, raw and unhidden. I didn't want this for you, Brandon, she choked out. I should have been here, paid attention, and now look at you. The words tumbled out of me before I could think, but they felt right. Mom, you're a woman, and you turned out fine. Nana made sure of that. This isn't your fault. I screwed up. Betting was my choice, and nothing you could have done would have stopped me. I'll own that. And yeah, I like dressing up sometimes. I've even wondered what it'd be like to be a girl full-time. But the problem isn't the clothes, it's the debt. Dressing like this? It's my shot to clear it. With Nana's help, I'll be fine. Maybe even as good a girl as you. This is on me, not you. She wiped her eyes, her voice soft but heavy. I just never thought my son would want to be a girl. Your dad was a drunk, a mess, and I tried so hard to keep you from turning out like him. I missed what was happening right under my nose. The clothes, the betting, it's the gambling that dragged you into this. Promise me you'll never touch it again. I won't, Mom, I said, my voice steady. I won't have time, and I sure as hell don't want to end up dead. I'll do my best to be the girl I need to be. We packed in silence, folding clothes, stacking boxes, the air thick with everything unsaid. When Pop pulled up with the truck, I hugged Mom tight, her warmth lingering as I stepped out, still in the green skirt and blouse, my heart pounding. At Nana's, I settled into my new room, the unfamiliar space closing in around me. Grandma knocked and walked in, her eyes sharp but kind. Your grandpa and I talked this over, Brandon. After you switch schools, we think it's best you stay as a girl full-time. Swapping back and forth will wear you down, and it's too much for everyone. With some work, you can pull it off at school. Half days mean less scrutiny. Tomorrow, we're spending the whole day getting you sorted. A proper wardrobe, better makeup, everything you need to pass without a hitch. Dinner's in a few. Go wash up. She left, and I stood there, stunned, my pulse racing. Full-time as a girls' school, work, life. The idea hit like a tidal wave, thrilling and terrifying all at once. Grandma's words weren't a suggestion, they were a roadmap, carved in stone. I wanted to argue, to say I couldn't pull off living as a girl full-time, but I knew better. Arguing with her was like wrestling a brick wall you just got exhausted. She'd outlasted everyone, even Pop, and her mind was set. In the small mirror, my reflection showed the damage of the day. Makeup streaked, eyes puffy. I scrubbed my face and helped set the table, the clink of plates grounding me. Over dinner, Pop's voice broke the quiet. We can't keep calling you Brandon looking like that, he said, his tone gentle but firm. What's your name? Katie, I said, the word feeling foreign but right. From that moment, it was all they called me, as if Brandon had never existed. The name rang strange in my ears, like a song from a dream, but my whole life had veered into some surreal twilight where the future was a blur. After dinner, Nana marched me to her sewing room, no nonsense as ever. Strip to your panties, she said, tape measure in hand. I stood there, exposed, as she measured every inch: shoulders, chest, waist, hips, her focus razor sharp. She flipped through a thick catalog, muttering sizes under her breath, calculating what it'd take to make me pass as a normal girl. Breasts, hips, waist, she mapped it all out like an architect. Get dressed, she said when she was done, handing me a skirt and blouse. I added a light swipe of makeup, just enough to feel human. And we hit the stores. First stop, a shop for breast forms, where I walked out with a pair glued on. Their weight strange but grounding. Padded briefs gave my hips a curve, and by the time we got home, I was lugging bags of skirts, tops, and shoes. Alone in my room, I unpacked, each item a reminder of my own stupidity. How had I let it come to this? The next day, I reported to the bookie's place, dressed as Katie skirt, blouse, heels clicking nervously. He didn't blink, just handed me an order book and a tray. Get to work, he said. The deal was simple: keep the tips. As the day wore on, I learned fast guys tipped big when they won, nothing when they lost. By closing, my purse held $200, a small victory in a losing game. Pop drove me home, and the rhythm took hold. School, work, repeat. When winter break ended, I enrolled at the new school as Katie. Nobody batted an eye, no whispers, no stares. I blended in, a ghost in a skirt. Weeks turned to months, and the routine reshaped me. The constant hustle at work shaved off pounds, sharpening my frame, making the girl in the mirror look less like a costume. My walk softened, my voice lightened, my gestures flowed without thought. Serving drinks, dodging hands, flashing smiles, it became second nature. The bookie kept a tight ledger, paid me what I earned, and made it clear I was off limits. One guy grabbed my butt. The bookie snapped his arm like a twig. By summer break, Nana pulled me aside for one of her talks, her code for me, shutting up and listening. Her eyes held mine, steady and sure, as she laid out a plan that once would have terrified me. Now it felt inevitable, even right. She spelled out the consequences, clear as day, and for the first time, I didn't flinch. I nodded, ready to step fully into the life I'd been building, piece by piece. I didn't even think to ask what Mom thought about Nana's plan. She'd been a shadow in my life since I'd moved out, and Nana just waved it off, saying she'd handle it. A few days later, I was swallowing pills that would reshape me into the girl I was becoming. School dragged on, work at the bookie's joint kept me busy, and the pills worked quietly in the background, reshaping my body with a subtlety I didn't expect. It wasn't long before my skin smoothed out, hairless and soft. My chest blossomed into curves that filled out my bra without forms. My hips flared, and a slight bubble butt rounded out my silhouette. By the time I hit that awkward cusp of adolescence, there was no trace of the boy I'd been unless I stripped down, and even then, the changes were undeniable. I was Katie, through and through, and the mirror didn't lie anymore. I was out front one night, weaving through the crowd with a tray of drinks, the usual chaos of the bar swirling around me. Then it happened, 3 sharp cracks. Bang, 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 splitting the air. Instinct kicked in, and I dropped to the floor, glasses shattering around me. The crowd surged, a stampede of panic, and someone's boot crushed my arm as they bolted for the exit. Pain shot through me, white hot, and I curled up, clutching my arm as the bar emptied. 2 men had sprinted out first, shadows in the chaos, followed by everyone else. The cops arrived before I could move, their boots heavy on the floor. They saw my arm, swollen and useless, and handed me off to the EMTs while they swept the place. In the back, they found the bookie slumped at his desk, 3 neat holes in his forehead, his eyes staring at nothing. At the hospital, Pop and Nana were waiting, their faces tight with worry. 2 burly cops questioned me, but it was quick. They knew I hadn't pulled the trigger. "What'd you see? When?" they asked. I told them about the shots, the men running, the crush of the crowd. They nodded, jotted it down, and let me go. With the bookie gone, work stopped cold. For almost a month, I was adrift, my arm in a cast, my routine shattered. Then the phone rang. A man named Trent wanted to meet. Pop gave the okay, but sat with his pistol in his lap when Nana let the guy in. Trent was all business, his suit crisp, his voice calm. "I work for the people the bookie answered to," he said, settling into a chair. "We went through his books. Katie was working off a debt, waiting tables." Is there a problem? Nana snapped, her eyes narrowing. She did everything he asked, and she didn't shoot him. Trent raised his hands, placating. No problem, ma'am. The debt's wiped clean. Katie was a minor against our rules. The bookie pocketed her payments, and that didn't sit well with my bosses. She's free, no obligations. He paused, leaning forward. But I'm here with an offer. We know what the bookie put her through, and we've got an opening at Shea Riverfront, one of our upscale spots. Reservation clerk to start, stepping in as maitre d' when needed. Same pay $500 a week, plus a third of the tips. Safe environment. My son works there, and he'll make sure Katie gets home every night, even if he has to tail your car. $500 a week plus tips? I could save for college, build something real. Yes, I blurted, my heart racing. Pop held up a hand, his eyes steady. We'll let you know, he said, taking the card Trent offered. The man nodded and left, the door clicking shut behind him. I looked at Pop, then Nana, the weight of a new beginning settling in. This wasn't just a job, it was a chance to keep being Katie, on my terms, in a world that suddenly felt a little less heavy. For the first time in 3 years, the weight of debt was gone, replaced by a job offer that felt like a golden ticket. We hashed it out at home, but there wasn't much debate I wanted it. No more jeans and simple skirts. I'd wear elegant dresses, move through a world of polished tables and clinking glasses. I kept that part to myself, but Nana's knowing glance told me she saw it in my eyes. Pop called Trent the next day to accept, and Nana whisked me off to shop. We returned with bags of tailored dresses, heels that clicked with purpose, and makeup that made my face feel like mine. At Shea Riverfront, the work was a breeze, and I felt like royalty. The patrons, draped in silk and suits, tipped generously, their wealth as evident in their smiles as in their wallets. Only once did things sour. A drunk businessman lunged for my chest, his fingers grazing my dress before security hauled him out. He never came back. Logan, Trent's son, was assigned to get me home safely each night. He was my age, with his father's sharp looks, bright eyes that sparked when they met mine, a smile that warmed the air between us. At first, I couldn't imagine him seeing me as anything but a coworker. I'd always clung to the idea that I could slip back into being a boy someday, that this was temporary. But the pills had done their work, my skin softened, my breasts grew, my hips curved. One night, alone in my room, I cupped my chest, marveling at the warmth, the sensitivity of my skin, the way my body responded. The boy I'd been faded, and I stopped fighting it. Logan changed things too. His gaze lingered. His laugh came easier, and I realized I wasn't just passing as a girl, I was pretty, desirable. He started picking me up for work, then driving me home, our rides stretching longer each night. One evening, he pulled over under a streetlight's glow, and his lips found mine. The kiss was electric, a current that woke something deep inside me. Night after night, we stopped, his hands bolder each time, slipping under my dress, into my bra. I wanted to say no, to hold some line, but my body betrayed me, craving more. Then came the night I reached for him, unzipping his pants, my fingers brushing something hard, yet velvet soft. He leaned back, eyes half closed, and I bent forward, my breath catching as I faced it. My tongue darted out, tentative, then bolder, and with one motion I took him in. His hand rested on my head, guiding but not forcing, and I felt a strange pride in his satisfaction. In my panties, I was still male, but everywhere else, my curves, my voice, my heart, I was a woman, and pleasing him felt right. Logan and I started dating, and Nana and Pop never questioned it, their silence a quiet approval. After a month, I decided it was time for Mom to meet him. We'd seen each other monthly, her visits tinged with a hope I'd return to being her son. But I wasn't that boy anymore, and I needed her to see me as the woman I'd become. Nana called her first, smoothing the way, and when we arrived, Mom greeted us with a smile that held, even if her eyes flickered with something unspoken. Logan was perfect charming, holding my hand, easing her worries. She called me Katie, never once mentioning my past, and that small act loosened the knot in my chest. College came next, my transition complete thanks to Trent's connections, who guided me through the final steps. Logan and I parted ways, our spark fading, but he'd been the first to love me as Katie, and that left a tender mark on my heart. I threw myself into business management courses, fueled by Trent's promise of a job in his organization after graduation. Life felt good, bright, open, mine. But the past has a way of creeping back. One night, as I studied in my dorm, a text lit up my phone from an unknown number. "Katie, we need to talk. You're not as free as you think." My pulse spiked. Trent had cleared my debt, hadn't he? The bookie was dead, the slate wiped clean. Yet the message carried a weight I recognized, a shadow from the world I thought I'd escaped. I deleted it, but sleep didn't come. The next day, another came. "Shea Riverfront, tomorrow. Midnight. Come alone." My hands shook as I read it, the old fear clawing back. Trent's organization was vast, layered with secrets I'd never touched. Had the bookie's death stirred something? Was someone tying up loose ends or starting new ones? I didn't tell Nana or Pop. I couldn't drag them back into this. At midnight, I slipped into a black dress, heels silent on the pavement, and drove to Shea Riverfront. The restaurant was dark, its elegance muted without the hum of patrons. A single light glowed in the back. I stepped inside, my heart hammering, and saw a figure at a table, face obscured in shadow. "Katie," a voice said, low and familiar, but not Trent's. "You've done well. Too well, maybe." A hand slid a folder across the table, photos of me, from the bookie's bar to my college campus, timestamps recent. "The organization has a new job for you. Not optional. You owe us, not for money, but for silence." I froze, the air thick with threat. Logan's face flashed in my mind. Had he known? Had Trent? The folder held more than photos. Names, dates, deals tied to the bookie's operation. Things I'd never seen, but now implicated me. My new life, my freedom, was a house of cards, and someone was ready to pull. "What do you want?" I whispered, my voice steady despite the dread. The figure leaned forward, light catching his face. Trent, but his eyes were cold. Nothing like the man who'd offered me a job. "You're one of us now, Katie, or you're nothing." He stood, leaving the folder. "You have a week to decide." I drove home, the folder burning a hole in the passenger seat, my mind racing. College, love, a future all teetered on the edge of a knife. I'd escaped one debt, only to find another, darker one waiting. As dawn broke, I stared at the photos, my face staring back, and realized the truth. Katie wasn't just a role anymore. She was me, and she'd have to fight to keep what she'd built or lose it all to a game I hadn't known I was playing.